Okay. Well, somebody out there is probably on Facebook, maybe. And, yeah, okay. We are live.
Oh, we are.
And now. Okay. According to this, but they're probably picking up, like what happened 30 seconds ago.
That's true, very delayed.
Yeah.
Hi everyone out there, Austin here at Common Bond. Today we're going to take it a little bit easy, go for a more restorative, just relaxing practice today, especially just to rejuvenate given everything that's going on in the country right now in various domains. So for this practice you might want 2 blocks, might not be necessary at all. I always just like to have them handy no matter what I'm doing. So if you have blocks or anything else you'd like to use, that'd be great. And we'll get started laying down today, so just find yourself in a nice comfortable position on your spine. You can use anything that you like to set up, blankets, pillows, blocks, in any point of the body. Allowing the shoulder blades to eyes to close. And actually just rest both hands on the chest, on that heart space. Back of the triceps, pressing into the mat gently. Just releasing some tension here in the body. Allowing every ounce of your being to soften. Release the need to do in this moment. Beginning that process more physically. Allow the body to fall where it may. The feet falling over towards the side. Fingers relaxing. Unclenching the jaw here. Notice your teeth are grinding together, or you're finding some tension in the facial muscles. Start to notice where you feel sensation in the body, tuning into that more physical side of things in this moment. Is there any uncomfortable sensations coming up for you physically? Are there parts of the body that are more relaxed, more tight? Where is the body in contact with the mat? What's the temperature in certain parts of the body? Notice how the breath is moving the belly, moving the chest. That slight rise and fall. Starting to switch to more of the mental side of things, that internal world. Where's your mind focused on in this particular moment? Is it staying here in this moment, noticing the body? Is it drifting off to the various things that occupy your life? Are there any emotions that are lingering? Not trying to label anything as positive or negative. They're all just experiences in the end, so just seeing What is there? Start to bring the focus back to the breath. Starting to move the right hand down towards the belly. Moving into that 3-part breath. First taking an inhale into the belly a little bit more than you have been doing so far. Feel the belly lift up a little higher, a bigger expansion up. And exhale, pull the belly button back in towards the spine. And taking that process 2 more times, inhaling into the belly, really trying to keep it into that part of the body, that expansion outward. Fill up as much as you can there. And exhale to release it all out. One more breath there. Deep inhale. Allow that exhale to come when you're ready. Switching the breath into the chest. Inhale. Feel the upper body expand. The rib cage lifts up. Ribs spread apart from each other. And exhale to release it all out. The shoulders melt back into the mat. 2 more breaths. Take them as deep as you can into that heart space, that chest space. Releasing that exhale there. And starting to connect those 2 breaths together. First, inhaling into the belly, feel that expansion up. Within that same inhale, float that air up into the chest as the belly deflates and the rib cage expands. And then exhale, release it all back down from the crown of the head all the way down to the belly. That free part. That inhale into the belly, then into the chest, and then that exhale out. Find 3 more of these breaths at your own rate. Paying attention to the movements in the body as you breathe. Finishing up your last one. Starting to just move to some more neutral inhales and exhales. Still trying to keep them deep and moving through all of the body. Taking an inhale to reach the arms up overhead, point the toes forward. Exhale, curl everything in, bring the knees in towards the belly. In a gentle rock side to side, massaging the lower back. You can keep the eyes closed here, no need to open them. Trying to find as much ease in the body as you can. Start to release the feet back down into the ground, about hip distance apart. Start to pick up the left foot and cross that ankle and place it on top of the right thigh. Press that left knee away from you. Flex the left foot. Right foot stays planted into the mat. Just for this figure 4 position. You can also take a hand, bring it to that left knee and really press the knee away. Just passive hip opener here. As always, if you want a bit more sensation, you can always keep this configuration of the legs, pick up the right foot and draw the legs towards you. Maybe wrap the arms in between that gap in the legs. Coming into supine pigeon pose. Once again, trying to find a gentle variation here, not trying to pull the legs all the way towards the belly. Really try to keep the lower back grounded into the mat. That means the legs will lower a little bit further away from you. And still actively trying to press that left knee away. Both feet are flexed. Taking 3 of those deep breaths here. Inhale. And exhale, start to bring that right foot back down. Maybe your next inhale reaches the left leg up towards the ceiling. Flex the toes down, pull the heel up towards the ceiling. Breathing into the back of the leg, the hamstring. And exhale, bend into the knee, set that foot back into the mat. Feel the texture underneath your toes. Switching sides, inhale to pick up the right foot. Cross that ankle, place it above the left knee, that left thigh. Press the right knee away, creating that figure 4. Right foot is flexed. Taking a round of breath here. And then once again, you have that option to start to lift the legs up towards you. Maybe wrap the arms to grab up along some point of the leg, hamstring, thigh, calf, knee, doesn't matter. And not going too far into the pose like earlier, really trying to keep your spine grounding into the mat, shoulder blades grounding into the ground. Knee pressing away, both feet are flexed. Just a light hip stretch, just to start to open things bit by bit versus rushing into any big stretches. One more inhale. And exhale, set that foot down. Next inhale, you have the option again to lift the right leg up towards the ceiling, pointing those toes towards you, pressing the heel up, trying to straighten through that leg as much as you like, finding a nice stretch through the back of the leg, all the way from the back of the hips, along the hamstrings, to the calf, ankle, maybe even the toes a little bit. Next exhale, set that foot back down. When you're ready, start to pull the right knee in towards the side belly, wrap the arms around the shin or back of leg again, and just find a compression on the right hand side of the body. Take a round of breath here.
And start to just bring that left arm down beside you. Ground that right tricep into the mat and start to open the right knee out towards the side, moving into the inner thigh, inner hip, and really just keeping that right hand pressing underneath the knee, using that tricep to support you, finding a supported hip stretch here. And you can stay here for that easy, passive, restorative stretch. You can also bring a little bit more activation into it by taking an inhale. Exhale out. And on your next inhale, still keeping the hand right where it is on that knee, and start to straighten the leg out towards the side as much as you like. Doesn't have to be fully straight. And exhale, bend the leg back in. You can take that a couple more times, inhaling to straighten the leg. Exhale, bring it in. Maybe with each round, it invites a little bit more length in the leg as it warms up. Like I said, I think it would be better shorter. Let's take one more round. And start to bring the knee back towards the belly and set it down. Switching sides, pull the left knee in, wrap around some point of the leg, pull that knee in towards the left side belly. Breathing here. When you're ready, you can just bring that right arm down beside you anywhere, keeping that left hand on the left knee, and start to open the thigh up and over towards the left, pressing that left hand underneath the left knee, moving into that inner thigh stretch. Once again, you can just stay here, keeping the tricep grounded into the mat to support the arm and then support the knee. And also use your inhales to straighten the leg out a bit, maybe gaining a little bit more length with each repetition. Exhale brings the leg back in. Inhale brings the leg back out. Just take that a couple more times. Finish your last round. When you're ready, start to bring that left knee back in towards the belly. Squeeze it in one time. And exhale to set the foot back down. We start to bring both knees back in, curl in. And start to rock front to back, massaging the entire spine. So maybe you gain enough momentum to roll up to seated.
Sitting up in any seated position that feels comfortable for you. Keeping the eyes still gently softened here or closed. Placing the hands anywhere along the legs. Starting to invite some length through the spine here to sit up as tall as we can. First by inhaling, roll the shoulders all the way up to the ears. Exhale to roll them down and back. Actively pulling the shoulder blades together, opening through the chest. Not puffing the heart out too much, which creates this action where your head's tilting back, but active shoulder blades while also pulling in the rib cage to keep that length through the spine from the crown of the head all the way down to the lower back. Chin is slightly lifted up. Shoulders are pulling down. Tailbone is rooted into the mat. Taking a round of breath here. Inhale carries the arms up and over, growing even taller. Fingertips reach up towards the ceiling. Palms touch. Exhale, draw the hands down through heart center. Taking that again, inhale to lift. Palms reach, meet, and exhale to the heart. Again, inhale, reach up one more time. And this time on our exhale, start to hinge forward. Try to keep a flat spine. Keep the gaze neutral, just allowing the line of sight to be a natural extension of the fold, not craning too far forward or too far down, somewhere in between the middle. And slowly come down. Notice when you start to round, stop there, come back. Just release the hands to the mat wherever you're at. Sort of blocks might come in handy, one under each forearm if you need the mat to come a little bit closer to you. Just drop the head, release the neck here. Again, you can find more passivity into your posture. You can find more activation by walking the hands forward, keeping the forearms lifted, and the fingertips reaching forward. Head is still at a neutral position. Maybe chin even slightly tucked.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the input. Yeah, I'll keep it coming. All right. Yeah, have a good week.
Taking around the breath here. Use your next exhale to slowly start to walk the hands over towards the right. Any amount until you start to feel a nice stretch through the left side body. You can keep the forearms lifted, or you can release them into the mat, doesn't matter. Just notice if one shoulder is coming way up higher than the other, and just invite that shoulder to close off to find that equal plane. Breathing here. Inhale, slowly start to walk the hands back to center. And then exhale, walk them all the way over towards the left. Find how far you want to go. Then choose forearms up or down. Release the gaze towards the mat, towards the ground. Breathe into the right side of the body. Letting some length gently enter that part of your physical self. Next inhale carries the arms forward, walking the hands towards the front of the room. And exhale, melt back into your seated forward fold for a breath. And next inhale, one by one, go slow, walk the palms in towards the legs, pressing up. Eventually meeting hands by the knees. Taking another shoulder roll just for good measure. Inhale, shoulders up to the ears. Exhale, roll them down and back. You have the option to roll over the shins or sweep the legs forward and then to the side to find tabletop position. Planting the hands into the mat, stacking shoulders above wrists, hips above knees. Setting up for that cat-cow movement to wake up the spine a bit more. Spreading nice and wide through the fingertips. Really setting up your posture here. Take an inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows slightly out towards the side. Inhale, wrap the elbows towards each other, biceps rotating forward. And then press back into the hands, finding these nice strong arms here with a slight micro bend in the elbows, not trying to hyperextend, softening a little bit into the joints here. Gaze is still towards the mat, right in front of the fingertips for neutral tabletop. Notice if your belly is dropping like that.
Invite some strength into the core. Pull the rib cage up and in. Lower belly in. And take that slow movement to come into your cow pose. Start to release the belly down. Still core engaged, but just allowing the belly to relax a bit as the gaze comes towards the front of the room or right in front of the mat. Arms are still nice and engaged here, really pressing into all points of the palms, base of knuckles. Next exhale carries you through calves as the tailbone starts to tuck underneath you, and from that movement you start to curve through the entire spine, pressing even more into the hands to find a deep arch in the upper back. Release the head here. Core is still on board. Inhale to find your cow. Release everything back down as the line of sight reaches towards the front of the mat. Exhale, tuck it all back in. Find your cat pose. Find that deep arch in the spine. Inhale. Flows you into cow. And just take 2 more rounds at your own pace. Follow your breath. Find that mindful movement. That synchronicity between breath and flow. Finishing up your last round. Starting to meet back in neutral tabletop. Drop the forearms into the mat, right where the hands were, your elbows are now there. Taking a moment here just to take a break from the wrist. You can flip the palms up, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the wrists. Slightly tucking the tailbone underneath you, the lower belly is still on board here, engaged. Releasing the hands back into the mat, just drop the head, finding a slight decompression of the spine here. It's a super gentle heart melt pose, puppy pose. Next inhale, press the hands back into the mat where the elbows were, coming back into tabletop. Inhale, start to step the right foot back, toes tuck underneath you, draw the heel towards the mat. Won't touch, just to activate the entire back of the leg here, feeling a deep stretch in the calf most likely. Maybe a little stretch in the upper thigh, hamstring. Still getting that core on board, hips slightly tucked. Maybe inhale, start to lift that leg up off the mat. Dropping the right hip here. Trying to get the hip squared towards the mat. Right foot is flexed, toes point down. Softening into the elbows, but still nice strong arms, palms firmly rooted into the mat. And inhale, maybe slowly start to carry that leg out towards the side. The toes will start to flip so they point towards the top of the mat. Taking it all the way out towards the side and setting that foot down. Reach the toes towards the top of the room. Knees should align with about the arch of that right foot. Finding a twist here, rooting that left hand into the mat. You reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. Still pressing through that right foot. And then find where you want your gaze to be. It can out towards the fingertips, but that's comfortable for the neck, but it also can just look out towards the side. Take an inhale. And exhale, carry that arm down. Plant it back into the mat, right underneath the shoulder. Maybe you start to rock side to side a little bit. Moving, flossing through the inner thigh, the inner hip.
Next, inhale, walk the hands towards the knee, start to lift the torso up, press the hips forward, take your hands to your hips, drop that right hip down, pull the left hip up, still pressing through that right leg, nice and strong there. Take a round of breath. When you're ready, start to pull that right foot in a little bit, but start to point the toes towards the side of the mat, finding this 90-degree bend in the leg while the torso is still pointing forward. Toes are pointing out towards the side. Hips are still pressing forward. You can stay here. The option to sweep the arms up towards the ceiling, reaching up. And coming into a slight side body stretch here, you can make an exhale. Take that right forearm down to that right thigh. Start to reach that left arm up on an inhale. And exhale to reach it over towards the right hand side as well. Not sinking into the shoulder. You want the ears to coming down to the shoulder, but still staying nice and strong, rooted down to that forearm, pressing into it to lift up, but still reaching over towards the side with that left arm. Once again, moving into that side body here. If you want a little bit more sensation, you can engage the core a little bit more. Start to take that right arm off the thigh and reach it over towards the left. Two more breaths here. Inhale, sweep everything up. Exhale, take it down to the mat. Bring that right knee back in. Find a neutral tabletop, maybe a round of cat-cow. Starting to step the left foot back. Toes are tucked. Draw it back through the heel. Scoop the hips slightly underneath you. Shoulders are stacked right above the wrists. Slight micro bend in the elbows. Root down through those base of the knuckles. Inhale, start to lift that left leg up. Square the hips towards the mat. Flex the foot. Engage the lower belly in. When you're ready here, you can inhale. Slowly start to bring that leg out towards the left as the toes point towards the top of the room. Set that foot down. Find that heel to knee, or arch to knee alignment. Toes are still breathing into the thigh here. Coming into that twist, root down to the right hand this time. As you inhale, reach the left arm up towards the ceiling. Meet your gaze where you want, to the side or towards the fingertips. Inhale. Exhale, take it back down to the mat. Maybe that rock front to back. Coming back to neutral. Walk the hands towards the knee and lift the torso up. Press the hips forward. Take the hands to the hips. Encourage that left hip down, right hip up to keep them in that same equal plane of existence. Still pressing through that left leg. Just breathing here. When you're ready, you can start to walk that left foot in a little bit to bend 90 degrees into that knee. Toes still point out towards the left hand side while the torso points forward. Hips are still scooping underneath you, pressing forward. You can breathe here. This 90-degree from the hip to the knee to the ankle. Feet pressing into the mat. Once again, you have that option to start to take that left forearm down to the top of that left thigh. So to reach that right arm up on the inhale. The exhale, reach it up and over. Finding that side body stretch. Breathing here. Still pressing down through that forearm to keep the ear away from the shoulder, not sinking, collapsing down, but nice and engaged there in that part of your body. If you want also, you can take that left arm off of the thigh and reach the fingertips over towards the right. Engaging the core here to help support the body, keep it lifted. Two more breaths. And inhale, sweep everything up. Exhale to meet the mat. Bring that left knee back in. Start to meet in child's pose. You can take a wide-legged child's pose here. So opening up the knees so they are outside the mat. So the chest and belly can fall in between the legs. You can also take a block underneath the heart and one underneath the forehead to rise the mat a little bit more up to meet you. Take 5 rounds of breath here in this moment of stillness. This time to self-reflect, to notice what's coming up for you in this moment, physically or mentally. No need to change anything about your experience. Just be on that observer of everything. No need to engage, to fight, to avoid. Finishing up one more round of breath here. Slowly start to lock the knees in to neutral. Child's pose. Set any of the props to the side. Press the hands into the mat. Lift up for hero's pose, just a transition. So you come back onto all fours. That tabletop pose. Maybe finding one of those blocks or both handy. Coming into pose or your heart mount pose. Finding one block right underneath your gaze and one a little bit more towards the top of your mat. Slowly start to walk the hands forward, keeping the hips stacked right above the knees. They don't move at all as the torso drops down to the mat. You may have to rearrange the blocks a little bit, trying to get one block for underneath the chest and maybe one block for underneath the head. That's a little bit. Bring the forehead straight down to the ground. Reaching the arms as far forward as you can get them. Core is still engaged here to protect the lower back. Finding a deeper decompression of the spine here. Inhale. So to lift the forehead off the mat or block, and slowly press into the hands, lift the chest up, and walk the hands and back one by one. Drop the hips to the heels. Sweep the legs to the side as you drop the hips to the opposite side of your mat. Reaching the legs forward just for a moment, maybe pedaling them out a little bit, flexing the feet, pointing them up a couple of times, just doing some flossing through the legs. When you're ready, start to plant the soles of the feet into the mat, walk them in a little bit, not too far in or too far away, somewhere in between. Bring the hands to the shins. Take an inhale. Pull by pressing the hands, gripping the hands into the shins and pulling the chest forward. From here, get that core on board, engage the lower belly and pull it in towards the spine. With that core engaged and the breath still flowing, maybe reach the hands forward, using that core strength to keep you upright. Palms facing up. Take an inhale. And exhale, start to slowly lower yourself down, core still engaged, to the mat. When you reach the bottom, allow the knees to meet the belly. Curl in as much as you like, rock side to side. Maybe you start to lower the lower back all the way down to the mat. Start to stack hips in line with knees. Lift up the shins until there's a 90-degree bend in the legs. Flex the feet up. Take both hands to each respective knee. Take an inhale. And exhale, slowly guide the knees apart from each other. Maybe the forearms, the backs of the triceps meet the mat, meeting in this supine frog pose. You can also take blocks underneath the triceps if you need a little bit more room. And breathing here. Want a little bit more sensation, you can always just release the hands from the knees, allowing gravity to weigh them down. Or you can also take a more active approach by taking the hands to the inside of the knees and pressing the legs further apart from each other. Taking a couple of breaths wherever you end up. Inhale. Slowly and gently bring the knees back towards one another. Exhale, bring them back in towards the belly. Any other rocks or wiggles to get out of you. Set the feet into the mat. And slide the legs forward. Slaying the legs out to the corners of the mat. Feet fall out towards the side. Allow the shoulders to melt into the mat. Maybe even walking the shoulders a little bit underneath you. Release the arms out to the side. Palms can face up or down. Returning to where we started our practice. Close the eyes. Maybe allowing one more intentional deep inhale and deep exhale. Lean into that full state of observing passivity in action for this particular moment. Enjoy that time to reflect, to be uninhibited in your experience that comes up. Give space to each thought, each emotion, each feeling in the body, the time and space that it deserves, the recognition that it deserves. You know, always come back to the breath, that more physical side of things. I also just encourage you to reflect on your relation to thoughts and feelings that becomes too overwhelming that you can only focus on the physical side of things. Just notice that need and then go to the breath.
Staying here as long as you possibly can. Really allow yourself to restore here for however long you have. Notice any needs to move, to get out of anything that you might be experiencing. There's no judgment if you need to move. To distance yourself from something that's coming up. Just notice that need and act on it with intention. Of that mindless action that we tend to get sucked up into in our daily lives. The light within me honors and respects the light within all of you out there. Namaste.